Good morning, everyone. Happy Arbor Day. How we doing? Come on, give it up for the trees. There's still a few open seats, so if you'd like to gather in, we're Clevelanders, so we like to be close to one another. Come on in close. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Matt Zone, and I serve as Western Reserve Land Conservancy's Chief Advocacy Officer, and it's my honor to serve this morning as the MC for the event. Come on, it's Arbor Day, right? We're not at let's give it up for Arbor Day. You know, one thing I love about Arbor Day, it's really a moment of renewal. The trees are budding. You start to see them coming back to life. Stewardship, but also community action. You are sitting in the Thurgood Marshall Green. This is a city park that our organization led, working closely with the city of Cleveland on the fundraising, design, and project management, and then we turned it over to the city last October. I want to give a special shout out to my former colleagues at the city, and there are a number of you here. Really grateful to have the city in full force. Chief Operating Officer Bonnie Tewin, where you at? I saw you earlier. Thank you, Chief Tewin, for being here. Director of Parks, Alex Nichols. We now have a Director of Parks. Give it up for Alex. You're going to hear from some other city officials, so I'm not going to recognize all of them. I want to give a special shout out to Todd Alexander. He had his whole crew out here yesterday cleaning up this park, making it look wonderful. Thank you, Todd. You know, we have this really strong partnership with the city, the Land Conservancy does, and they're going to be the long-term stewards and caretaker of this park. So thank you for all you do. I want to acknowledge our Director of Sustainability, Sarah O'Keefe. Sarah, thank you for all the climate resiliency work you do. This is climate resiliency in action, so thank you as well. You know, today is a significant day for our organization. We are here to celebrate 10 years of reforestation in the city of Cleveland. And after the program's over, I encourage you to go over and look at that sign. That sign shows our impact in the city over the last 10 years. We've trained over 500 tree stewards, and there's a little icon that shows where they live. We have distributed thousands of trees. We have planted thousands of trees, over 18,000 trees in the city of Cleveland today, and we're not done yet. As our Director of Development, Elizabeth Grace, always tells us, how can we 10X what we're doing? So, Elizabeth, just keep raising that money, and we can 10X it, Elizabeth. So, you know, really, our program was the result of, it birthed out of the sustainability summits. And about 15 years ago, I was serving as a member of Cleveland City Council and was very involved in the movement to try to and grow our canopy. And a bunch of environmental leaders came together, and one really emerged as a leader in that space. And now I'm not going to tell the whole story. I'll let our CEO, Rich Cochran, share that story with you. But that's when I really came to really appreciate what Rich stands for. Not only did he talk the talk, but he walked it. And he knew if he was going to talk about trees and advocating for trees in the city of Cleveland, we needed to create a program. So Rich will probably share more about that in his remarks as well. Our RRC program stands for Reforest Our City. I just can't say enough about what they have done, the care that they take to we say we don't plant trees, we nurture trees. We make sure when we plant a tree it has the right soil conditions, that when a tree goes in the ground, we are there with that tree and connected to that tree for minimally 5 years. We come back every week, once a week, the months through June through August, and give each tree we plant 15 gallons of water, every tree. It's very labor intensive, but our team delivers it every single day. And then in the wintertime, when the trees go into dormancy, they're coming back and doing pruning. So just really want to, a lot of gratitude to the work that our tree team does. So just kind of set up what you're going to see today. After the program's over, we're going to be joined by preschoolers from Mary B. Martin School, just a little bit west of here. We're going to do a demonstration tree planting in 3 different locations, and we'll set that up. Then we're going to have some music and fun, and we're going to serve a hot lunch to everybody at the end. So it's really my honor to introduce an inspirational leader who is committed to helping the city achieve its reforestation goals. Well, everyone, please join me in giving a warm welcome to the CEO of Western Reserve Land Conservancy, Rich Cochran.
Thank you so much, Matt, and thank you for, as always, bringing us all together in such a beautiful way. As my staff knows, Arbor Day is my favorite holiday other than Thanksgiving, which is my favorite holiday. But they're kind of neck and neck. And as Matt said, Arbor Day is such a holiday of hope. And as the world blossoms around us, it brings up in me the same feelings of Thanksgiving, the same feelings of gratitude for what Mother Nature provides to us. And I'm so happy that you're all here with us to celebrate this today. Before I get started, I want to point out how grateful I am to Matt and Stella Dillick and her team for organizing all of this. I get so much credit as president, but I just show up and talk, and they actually do 100% of the work and planning, and it's just something that I can't even believe. They're so good at it. Let's give all of them a hand. I also want to thank our team led by Isaac Robb and Matt Zone for making this park happen. As Matt mentioned, we worked on this park for many years. We identified the site, we bought the site, we programmed the site with the voice of the community. And one of the amazing stories about this park is the children of this neighborhood really designed it. And they told us things like, we love to spin. When you're a 57-year-old man, you don't think to put spinning toys in a park, but a 7-year-old wants to spin all day long. And I'll tell you, you drive by here any time of day, there are kids spinning on this playground, there are kids playing football in this field, there are kids playing Frisbee in this field. It's an incredibly active place, and I am so grateful to the city and to our team for bringing it to life. I'm very honored to serve as President and CEO of Western Reserve Land Conservancy and as Chairman of the Cleveland Tree Coalition Executive Committee. My whole life I've loved trees, long before I even really knew what that meant. I climbed trees, I played in the forests, I backpacked, I hunted, I fished. As I grew older and older and older, I did more and more with trees and in the woods. I was drawn to them. I think we're all drawn to them, but we need an opportunity to be drawn to them, and that means we need to be in their presence at all times. And one of the sad things that we learned in studying the city of Cleveland between 2008 and 2011 was many children grow up not in the presence of trees. Unlike neighboring Shaker Heights and Cleveland Heights and all of the suburban areas around here, many of the kids on the east side, in particular in the south side of Cleveland, do not grow up in the regular presence of trees. And that gave us the inspiration to start this program, and even before this program, to work at the Sustainability Summit and others, as Matt mentioned. So this is a long journey. And when you think about this journey, think back to, say, 1950, when Cleveland was the forest city and probably had in excess of a 50% canopy citywide based on historical records. And then a long 75-year-old decline, where we went from north of 50% tree canopy, where every child grew up in the presence of trees, every child grew up with the benefits of trees, to now maybe 18% tree canopy. We're not sure exactly where we are today. But the last time it was measured, it was approximately 18% tree canopy, and in some neighborhoods on the east side and the south side at 10% or even lower. It's a catastrophic situation because, as I saw Sandy Reed from Davie, as the bumper sticker says, trees are the answer. We don't need to know this from scientists because philosophers have been telling us this for thousands of years, but we now know from scientists as well, trees are the answer. Trees reduce crime. Trees improve health outcomes, whether it's mental health, blood pressure health, any kind of way you want to measure health outcomes, the presence of trees increases that. Trees reduce crime. Trees are the greatest way to mitigate climate change because they cool the air in the city. They also turn the soil spongy. So we're absorbing the increased stormwater. We're absorbing the increased heat with trees. They literally are the answer to nearly every single problem you face in environmental conditions in a city like Cleveland. And yet we have neglected them because of things like air conditioning because we didn't think we needed them anymore. In reality, we've never needed them more. One of my favorite things about Cleveland is that this was a forested city. We live in a place where we can have the forest city. There were towering elm trees up and down every avenue in Cleveland in 1950. There were ash trees in all of the neighborhoods. There were oak trees, massive trees. It was not called the forest city for nothing. It was literally the forest city. That means we have the right climate, the right soils, the right everything to return it to that, even though we have now denuded our city accidentally through diseases, allowing diseases to take their toll like emerald ash borer, like Dutch elm disease, but also through development and road widening and all kinds of things where we neglected our tree canopy. But today, because of this coalition that you see before you today, with the city, all of the partners in the Cleveland Tree Coalition, all of the corporate partners like Davey and Bartlett, we have come together. We now know this is not a nice to have thing. This is essential infrastructure for the people of our city. We're going to go from 20% to 30% to 40%. We're going to do things today that we may never enjoy ourselves, but we know that children will walk to school in 2050 in the presence of trees, nurtured by them in a way that they can't be nurtured by anything else in their environment. Because we evolved in the presence of trees, we will always need the presence of trees to thrive as human beings, as all living things do. And I don't think Chris Kuhar's here from the zoo, but he's a world-class, he's the head of the zoo now, he's a world-class primate biologist originally. And we were talking about trees together a few years ago, and he said, "You're right, Rich, all large primates," I don't think of myself as a large primate, but I am, all large primates benefit from the presence of trees. He's like, "We evolved in them." I said, "Please explain." He said, "I can tell by the coat of a gorilla if it's living in the presence of trees or not. I can take one look at the coat of the large primate and tell you if it's living in the presence of trees or not." That's the effect it has on all of us large primates, and yet we neglected it for many years. We're not going to neglect it anymore. Today, one tree at a time, one block at a time, one shovel at a time, we're going to reforest our city. So let us get our hands in the soil today and tomorrow. Let us plant our promise to the city. Let's make Cleveland the beautiful green city on our beautiful blue lake. Thank you.
Thank you for those inspiring words. And as you can see over my shoulder, the little kiddos are showing up from Mary B. Martin. So it's going to be really cool to see them playing on the swing set. You know, before we go any farther, I do have some acknowledgments I want to recognize. First of all, I want to thank, the strong partnership we have with the City of Cleveland. You heard me talk about the City Administration, but it's just not the City Administration, it's Cleveland City Council. In a minute, you're going to hear from two amazing leaders on the council, Council President Griffin and Councilwoman Stephanie House Jones. But I want to recognize two of our newest members, Councilwoman Nikki Hudson. Give a wave, Nikki. And Councilman Tanmay Shah. Both of them are new, hungry, and want to make sure that Cleveland's canopy grows. Also, by the way, Nikki Hudson's husband is a tree steward, so thank you for that. We have amazing partnerships with Davey Tree, but also I want to acknowledge and recognize the Garson Family Foundation and the Schifrin Family Foundation. Scott and Ann Garson are here, and Scott and Ann, give a wave. Thank you so much. Through the Garson Family Foundation, they help fund a new van for our RC program. Look at how sweet that van looks. I love that wrap. Scott, maybe we'll get your head on the side of that thing. What do you think? Sandy Reed, I can't say enough of our partnership with Davey. Sandy Reed and Jen Lennox from Davey Tree are here. They're one of our strongest corporate partners. Sandy and I have a thing. Anytime we're at tree planting together, we let our teams plant the trees. Her and I pick garbage bags, and we walk around and pick up litter. So Sandy and I, we're the litter picker-uppers. So thank you, Sandy, for all you do and your amazing leadership in that space. A number of CDC leaders here in the room, too many to acknowledge, nonprofit partners, and a number of tree stewards. As I said earlier in our comments, we've trained nearly 500 tree stewards to really be the defenders of the urban forestry. And most importantly, a lot of city residents. So thank you for what you do. I'm going to go a little bit off script. I know it's going to make Stella a little anxious here. Sorry, Stella, wherever you're at. But I want to invite to the podium because there's a special presentation they're going to give. State Senator Kent Smith, come on up. State Representative Eric Sonnenberg, come on up, please. State Senator Kent Smith was instrumental in helping us secure a state earmark for this park as well. And we have accommodations from State Rep Snyder. So come on. Sonnenberg.
He knows. Well, thanks, Matt. Thank you all for being here. Great to learn about how we're going to increase this canopy. I know in Euclid there's a group that's very involved. In Beechwood we have a city arborist, so we do need to increase our canopy. But there's actually a typo. It says 17,000, so next time we'll get it right, trees. But this is on behalf of all of the Cuyahoga delegation of the Ohio State House, so I'll just mention everybody's names really quickly. Bride Rose Sweeney, Tristan Rader, Sean Brennan, Chris Glassburn, Michael Davila, Juanita Brent, Phil Robinson, Terrence Upchurch, Eric Sonnenberg, Darnell Brewer, and Danielle Troy. So on behalf of all of the Cuyahoga reps,
Thank you so much.
18,000 more.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
No. We're really fortunate in Cuyahoga County to have some amazing representatives. By the way, Rep. Sonnenberg, Beechwood's Forester is our ROC team's one of their besties. Can I say that, Tom? Would you say one of your besties? And helps volunteer on a lot of the tree plantings that we do. Well, you can't really do this work in the city without strong city support from not only the executive branch of government, but the legislative. And I'm really honored to introduce our next speaker, who I had the opportunity to serve with, who's a champion of Cleveland, who's done some really remarkable work leading the city council. Will all of you please join me in giving a warm welcome to Council President Blaine Griffin. Here's some stats if you want to share.
Thanks, Zone. I tell everybody, once a councilman, always a councilman. And when I first was able to join council, I called Matt Zone the resident environmentalist. But I can tell you, you are now beat because we have other environmentalists that are really working with us on council, with Councilwoman Hudson and Shaw. And to Councilwoman House Jones, I'm jealous.
You should be.
This is phenomenal. This is a phenomenal park. We ought to give her and her community a round of applause for having this together. Well, first of all, happy Arbor Day, and I want to congratulate the Reforest, our city, and the Western Reserve Land Conservancy for this phenomenal transformational project in the community of Cleveland, Ohio. I've been the beneficiary of the work that the Western Reserve Land Conservancy has done, and also some very pivotal things that they've done in our community, like the Garden of 11 Angels, where we had a tragedy where 11 women were murdered by a person over in the Mount Pleasant area. Working with the Buckeye Ministers in Mission in order to have a hidden jewel tucked away in our Buckeye community where Western Reserve Land Conservancy has worked with us. So to be able to plant 18,000 trees in 250 communities in 22 different neighborhoods is something that we should commend. Let's give them another round of applause for doing it. As the speakers before me have said, we have always neglected our trees. in our city. And one of the goals of this Cleveland City Council is really to focus on sustainability, to focus on how we can reforest our city, to make sure that children in this community, that we can actually plant trees under whose shade we may never sit. And that's what's so important for all of us to do in this community. So on behalf of Cleveland City Council, I know you're going to hear from my exuberant colleague Stephanie House-Jones in a minute. We're ecstatic to be a partner with Western Reserve Land Conservancy. We actually work closely with them. They're one of our key contractors. They helped us think about parks and how we actually plant trees and do things in our community to reforest it. And Rich, I have to say, you did a heck of a job by picking Matt Zone because he is a great spokesman for your organization. So thank you all so much. We look forward to celebrating Earth Day with you. Have a great day.
Thank you, Council President. When we were the successful bidder on renovating this green space, it was right at the time when Councilwoman Stephanie House-Jones was just elected, and reached out to her and said, hey, we need your help with community engagement. She was ever present, really helped us to make sure that the space was really co-created by the community. If you look behind your shoulders, you'll see a hoop house. That's Village Family Farm. And we held several, two of our kickoff meetings at Village Family Farm, but partnering with Village Family Farm, Little Africa Food Co-op, Famicos Foundation, we were able, and the City of Cleveland, we were able to make sure that the design that you see here, and we're here talking about trees, but there wouldn't be 120 trees but for this project happening. The community really was the architect of this design. Well, all of you join me in giving a warm welcome to Councilwoman Stephanie House-Jones.
Well, good morning, beautiful people. How's everybody doing? Good. So, like today was one of the first times I've actually walked to an event, right? And it's just amazing how I was walking over here and I'm like, it's been like 20 plus years where I actually, and I'm not saying it's different than canvassing, I'm talking about walking to experience your neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? I saw one person, I'm like, hey, Jeff, he was riding on this bike. Then I'm like, okay, I see the Armin's getting something done to their house. And then, it's just amazing what you will see. And then I had some trees giving me some shade because I was like, oh, Lord, come on. I'm going to be all greasy when I get here. But, all the things that sometimes that will get you to say no to experience in your community are really the opportunities to say yes. As we talk about this celebration here with the Western Reserve Land Conservancy, celebrating 10 years of reforesting our city. I'm very grateful that our Huff and St. Clair Superior neighborhoods have been the beneficiaries of the partnership, right? When we talk about trees, there was 450 plus trees that have been planted in our communities, giving over 150 trees away, right, to community members. And I believe there's another tree distribution coming up, right? See, I be paying attention. But again, you really just want things where I feel like places and spaces where people can gather. People talk about outdoors and how healthy is, but the elements of it is because people get the opportunity to connect, right? The people are the special sauce. The trees kind of guide us to be that place, but you got to be in communications with one another. I think it's so beautiful when you are in neighborhoods and you hear the sounds of babies, to hear laughter, to hear the screams. That lets you know your community will be okay, right? Because the babies are there. And I think that's one of the things, like as we're doing projects, listen, are you hearing sounds of babies? What do you have to do to hear that sound? So on behalf of Huff, St. Clair Superior, thank you so much. I want to thank so much just all of the partnership from other elected officials, those at the State House. I know you'll be hearing from the Congresswoman's office and my colleagues, and Council President, you don't have to be jealous because we know we're going to come over there and show Buckeye some love too. But these are the types of things that are the benefit of everyone. You know what I'm saying? And that was one of the things where Council President and I were having some conversations conversations regarding downtown yesterday, and I was like, we really need to be much more intentional and like doing like neighborhood field trips, right? Where people can go and experience Cleveland. We were talking about downtown, but the opportunity is so great for us to take intentional opportunities and taking people from various neighborhoods to experience Cleveland. Boundaries do not, they don't have to limit us the way that we've allowed them to limit us, right? So I just hope that we can find opportunity, connecting with the Friends of Thurgood Marshall Green to make this somewhere a stop on our field trip. But the summertime is just, I feel like, one of the best times in Cleveland to experience the beauty of it. So thank you all, Western Reserve Land Conservancy, and experience Cleveland in its greatness, y'all. Have a great day.
All right, I'm going to ask for everyone's indulgence for 5 seconds, and let's follow the councilwoman's prompt. Let's just be quiet for 5 seconds. Come on. That's what this work is about. You hear the birds chirping, you hear the kiddos playing, the joy that they are exhibiting. Director Nichols, I know this is why you do what you do every single day, because you want to hear those same sounds as well. So really thank you for those inspiring words, Councilman House Jones. Really excited to introduce our next speaker. Congressman Shontel Brown has been a big champion and supporter of not only the city of Cleveland, but the work that our organization leads. And we're so fortunate today to have her district director, Jasmine Butler, to share some words with us. Well, all of you, please join me in giving a warm welcome to Jasmine Butler.
Good morning. I am Jasmine Butler, District Director for Congresswoman Brown, and while she was unable to be here today, she asked me to be here to represent our office to join this celebration. And on behalf of Congresswoman Brown and our office, I'm honored to be here alongside Council President Griffin, Councilwoman House Jones, and the Western Reserve Land Conservancy. The Congresswoman often talks about the importance of working in collaboration, and this is truly an example in tangible form of what that looks like when leaders from different communities, different organizations come together in alignment to transform opportunities for our future. On this beautiful Arbor Day morning, you can feel the spirit of Cleveland. We can hear it too, right? And this is about people working together, people planting seeds for a better future and taking pride in our neighborhoods. 10 years of planting thousands of trees is so impactful. Trees give us cleaner air, they lower energy costs during the summer, they soak up water during storms, and they create places for kids to play, and can even make neighborhoods more attractive for new investments. And for too long, there was a divide in what neighborhoods had trees and what neighborhoods didn't. But the truth is, everyone deserves a place in the shade. Right, Councilwoman?
Yes, I tried.
And that's why yesterday, Congresswoman Brown filed legislation with Senator Cory Booker to create a new federal grant program for urban tree planting, the Neighborhood Tree Act. Our legislation would make billions of dollars in grants available for programs like this Reforest our city, because this is a national model. It's something that we're bragging about in Washington, and we want this to continue and be replicated all over this amazing country. So on behalf of Congresswoman Brown and our office, I'd like to say thank you and congratulations. Thank you to everyone who has made this decade of success possible. We look forward to more plantings in the years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Jasmine, and please let us know, and I know your office will, what we can do, not only us, but the city of Cleveland, and you have a lot of other partners here around the National Tree Act as that navigates through Congress. Seems like a really exciting opportunity and something that is needed. All right. So next, I am really excited to introduce our next speaker. We are honored to welcome a leader who's had more than 2 decades of experience as a forester and an arborist. Before joining the City of Cleveland as the Commissioner of Urban Forestry, he served as the Urban Forest Manager for Alexandria, Virginia, and previously owned and operated a major tree care company for over a decade, providing services to numerous municipalities and building a reputation for technical excellence and community partnerships. He now serves as Cleveland's first sole urban forestry commissioner. Thank you, Chief Tewin. Thank you, Director Nichols. And thank you, City Council, most importantly, for making this a priority. He serves now as the sole urban forestry commissioner in more than 20 years for the City of Cleveland, helping to build and reimagine the city's urban forestry division as it enters a new era of stewardship. His work is grounded in deep commitment to workforce development and training, empowering people to become dedicated caretakers of our urban forests. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Phil Joubert.
Thanks, Matt. That was great. Good morning, everyone. Just for a quick icebreaker, every Arbor Day is a holiday for me, but it allows me to kind of go back in time of how I started my career. And in 2006, I started with Davy Tree. I was a tree climber, 50 feet up in the air, thin ropes. They give you a chainsaw as well. And that sounds scary, I think, to most people. But to me, I felt free. And if you told me as a 20-year-old man that I would have to speak in front of more than 3 people as an arborist to advance my career, that sounds terrifying. But to my city colleagues, partners, tree stewards, the volunteers and friends, thank you for the kind invitation and for joining us here today to celebrate 10 years of Western Reserve Land Conservancy's Reforest Our City program. This is actually my first Arbor Day as Cleveland's new Commissioner of Urban Forestry. There is a city event later this afternoon at Lowe Park. But there is no better way to mark it than by standing here with one of our city's most important reforestation partners. One of the first things I did when I arrived to the city 6 months ago was I asked 2 simple questions. Who is doing the actual work on the ground and getting their hands dirty? And how can I support them to make their mission easier and more impactful? The Land Conservancy immediately stood out because of their impressive numbers, strong organization, and resources. But as I've met their people, volunteers, and organizers, I've realized something even more powerful. It's not just what they do, it's how they do it and who they are. City programs cannot do this alone. We don't own the most land, and we manage far fewer trees than those on private property. Real community forestry requires genuine buy-in from a broader network, and the Land Conservancy sets that standard. They have proven themselves best in class. They are trusted, effective, and dependable. To give you perspective on their impact, more than 18,000 trees in 10 years is roughly the equivalent of 500 football fields of new trees. From another perspective, it's also enough to line both sides of the road from here to Toledo and back. But their true impact goes far beyond the numbers. This is a powerful story of perseverance. It's easy to plant a single tree, but it's hard to plant a forest. The planning, organizing, battling the tough weather, and then once you find that perfect planting spot, you hit a large rock. Arborists also know that the real success of any urban canopy lies in its root system. The dedicated people are those roots. They're the hidden network working quietly behind the scenes to ensure families walk underneath shade. This is why recognizing community partners like the Conservancy is so important. Their approach strengthens the bonds of community and weaves together relationships, memories, and lasting investment. The trees they planted are also so much more than canopy statistics. They are powerful symbols that connect us to the past and give us hope for the future. Trees are also silent storytellers. When arborists talk with our residents every single day, a single tree often unlocks old memories and family stories. If you want to truly know a community, I often say, talk to your local arborist. We've heard so many of those personal stories. Therefore, through their work, the Conservancy and our many volunteers are planting more than just trees. They are planting stories for future generations. At one time, Cleveland had roughly 220,000 trees on our boulevards. As our population declined, so did our canopy. Today, we estimate there are only about 90,000 trees on our boulevards. But the work of the Conservancy is helping to reverse that trend. Their efforts are a clear sign of Cleveland's revival and give us real hope for a brighter future. A thriving urban canopy truly means a thriving population. On behalf of the City of Cleveland, and as someone who speaks for the trees, thank you to the entire Western Reserve Land Conservancy team, your board, tree stewards, donors, and volunteers. I'm truly grateful for all the work that you do, and so are the trees. Just remember, you're not doing this work alone. This city and the broader community stand with you and support you every step of the way. Let's grow the next generation of Cleveland together. Thanks, Matt. Thank you.
Wow, those statistics. I'm going to start using that. 500 football fields here to Toledo and back.
I'm a little fuzzy at the math.
That's pretty good. And here's another factoid everyone needs to know. Every tree we plant, over 90% survivability. Too often you'll see trees planted, and I know I experienced it when I was a councilman, and they planted 350 trees in the public right-of-way on the West Shoreway, and about 200 of them died. So again, we don't plant trees, we nurture trees, and the key to it is doing it so they survive. But we can't do any of this work without community development partners, and we have many people from community development corporations here today. So the voice of the community development sector, an amazing tree steward in her own right, not only is she, but her daughter is as well. Will all of you give a warm welcome to Jamisha Alexander from New Point Community Development Corporation.
Wow, what a beautiful day. Give it all a round of applause to you all for being here and celebrating 10 years of reforesting the city of Cleveland. So give yourself a round of applause. So I am going to speak on behalf of the community. So this will be very heartfelt and in-depth. I want to say congratulations to the Western Reserve Land Conservancy on 10 years of impact, stewardship, and real investment in the community. As Matt said, my name is Jamisha Alexander, and I serve as the Neighborhood Sustainability Manager for New Point Community Development Corporation. As a CDC, our role is to be a connector. We sit at the intersection of residents, partners, land, and opportunity. We listen to what the community is asking for, identify where the gaps are, and work to turn these ideas into something people can not only see, but they can feel it. Hence the shade. In neighborhoods like Union Miles and Mount Pleasant, that work is not just about development, it's about building trust. People want to know that the investment is real. They want to know that promises turn into action. They want to know that places they call home truly matters. This is where the partnerships like Western Reserve Land Conservancy and the Reforest Our City program make a real difference. Through efforts like Trees for Cle, the Tree Steward program, and support like spaces around our plaza at East 131st and Miles, residents are not just watching change happen, they're becoming a part of it. The plaza is a great example. What some people see as just another vacant or underutilized corridor, we see it as a gateway to Union Miles. A place that should reflect pride, identity, and possibility. Visible investments in spaces like that helps rebuild the confidence in the neighborhood. Some of our own New Seeds ambassadors recently completed the Tree Steward program, and that matters because sustainability is not just about planting trees. It's about planting leadership, ownership, and pride. It creates place-based investments that last because residents are a part of the process, not just spectators. Too often, communities like ours are only talked about what they lack. But real transformation happens when people can see progress with their own eyes. Cleaner spaces, stronger corridors, healthier blocks, and opportunities where neglect once stood. That kind of visible, lasting change builds trust, And trust is what makes long-term community development possible. Because of partnerships like this, we are not starting from empty. We are building from stronger roots. Congratulations on 10 years, and here's to the next 10 years, because teamwork makes the dream work, because together everyone achieves more. I was waiting for somebody to finish the sentence. Everybody achieves more. So I'm going to end it on this note. I'm going to turn around, and you're going to take a look at this T-shirt, meaning that this is the message of today. So in other words, instead of us working in silos, let's work together as a community. So it's not about just individual neighborhoods. It's about all of us. It's about reforesting our city of Cleveland, making it beautiful, green, and clean. Thank you all for having me today.
All right, Rich, you have some competition. Teamwork makes the dream work. That's one of Rich's favorite lines, by the way. He loves using that. All right, to bring us home, we have our last speaker who's doing remarkable work, really shepherding the leadership of the Cleveland Tree Coalition. Sarah Tilley brings a healthcare background and understands how this can improve the health conditions of people. So really excited to have our last speaker bring us home. Will all of you join me in giving a warm welcome to Sarah Tilley.
Oh, thank you. All right.
Oh, wait. Oh, I missed.
Yeah, I was thinking, should I sit back down?
Yeah, you should sit back down. I am flipping through. That's when you copy on both sides. Sorry, Sarah. Little mistake on my part. But that was fun, right? We're on schedule, Stella. We can't do this work alone. As I mentioned, we've had nearly 500 tree stewards, and I'd like to call our next speaker is one of our super tree stewards. This guy has planted hundreds and hundreds of trees. He shows up all the time. He's always very present in the community, and he does it with such great humility. Our next speaker is now, he's formerly started his career in Cleveland and a community development corporation, then made impactful work at the city of Cleveland, and now he's at the Cleveland Foundation. Will all of you join me in giving a warm welcome to Phil Kidd? Sorry, Phil.
No worries. No, that was good. I'm going to tee you up here. So that actually worked out well. Thanks, Matt. This is like actually quite a great honor, and to be honest with you, it's like a full circle moment for me in a lot of ways, because my relationship actually with the Western Reserve Land Conservancy goes back before my time in Cleveland, when I was a nitty-gritty neighborhood organizer in Youngstown, Ohio, and working with residents there probably back in 2005 and that period of time. Well, we were trying to organize in neighborhoods to do tree planting projects there, but none of us were trained. None of us knew really what we were doing. Surprisingly, a lot of the trees survived, but when the Western Reserve Land Conservancy started their tree steward training program, I was paying attention to everything going on in Cleveland, because I'm trying to learn as a neighborhood organizer in Youngstown, hey, what's Cleveland got going on? So reached out to Western Reserve Land Conservancy. We wrote a small grant. They came down. We organized about 30 residents in Youngstown to get trained up through their tree steward training. And we finished with this really amazing project in downtown with 20 redbud trees in a long vacant downtown corridor that had been unplanted for years and years. All those trees have survived to this day, and all of those tree stewards are the ones that are kind of training the trainer. They're out there leading these neighborhood projects now. And in fact, they just secured a $5 million grant to plant 5,000 trees in Youngstown that they're working on right now. So that all was the nucleus from that tree steward training in a lot of ways. But as Matt mentioned, I got hired at a CDC on the west side in Detroit Shoreway. And at that time, the county had launched their tree grant program, and the Cleveland Tree Coalition had a grant program. So now we've got several $100,000 at our disposal here to start, keep this party going. And so when I got there and we were looking to get in the tree planting game at the CDC, I said, hey, sat down with former council member Jenny Spencer, who was the director at that time, and said, listen, I would love to be able to help lead this work up. And that's what we did. We started with a tree plan with Davey Tree, And every year, year after year, we raise probably anywhere between $100,000 and $200,000 planning lots of different projects, working with the dynamic then Block Club leader, Nikki Hudson, now councilwoman, on a lot of these projects. And it was advocacy, and it was also the planting side of it. But our big aha moment in the neighborhood was actually working with MOCAP, with Director DeRosa. There were two huge Complete and Green Street projects that were coming to the neighborhood on 65th Street and Lake Avenue. And if you know those streets prior to, maybe like 5 or 7 years ago, all those sidewalks were just full of impervious concrete. These were corridors that were built for a different era in Cleveland. It was just a different time. So when they were doing that project, we sat down with MOCAP and said, listen, we don't have to pour all this concrete any longer. We got other goals here. We want to get this canopy cover up. In Detroit Shoreway, it's only 12%. And so working with MOCAP, we were able to add 40,000 square feet of tree lawn. And so then we followed that up with those tree planting grants, and we got 80 trees in the ground in those two projects. So for me, that was the big aha moment. It's like, how much opportunity does there exist on these other corridor projects like this throughout the city, to your point, Phil? And so fortunately, I was given the opportunity by Jamie to be hired as the city's Complete and Green Street Director. And unsurprisingly, the one thing that I said, that if I do nothing else in this role, we are going to create as much green space on our city right-of-ways as possibly can, particularly with our corridor projects. And now, underway, just this year, you've got the 66th Street project, Wade Park Avenue, 55th, St. Clair coming up, Payne Avenue, Carnegie, all of these projects have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of square feet of new tree lawn planting, and working with the CDCs, working with the Reforest Our City programs, planting those all up. We're talking about hundreds and hundreds of trees. So it shows you the opportunity and the shift and change from both City Hall and to the ground, and having the resources and the partners to be able to do this. But I will say, in my role now, I'm the program director for the neighborhood work at the Cleveland Foundation. So you're talking about a $4 billion community organization, community foundation, in a very challenged city with a lot of deep neighborhood issues. The work can be very overwhelming. It's a whirlwind of work. But I will tell you something, that the one thing that I make time of, it's not part of my job description, but it's the one thing that I choose to do on my own time on the weekends, is to show up with these guys and plant trees on their volunteer projects in neighborhoods throughout the city. Why? Because it's the one, when you show up with 20 or 30 people with these tree steward projects and these tree planting projects in these neighborhoods, including this park that we're sitting in here now, when you walk out of there after 3 hours of doing that, you made a visceral impact on that street. You created a real sense of quality of life for the residents who are oftentimes participating in these projects. And so you walk out of there at noon having met all of this network of people, having actually made a real impact, and in 20, 30 years you can drive past that street or drive past that park and say, I planted that tree. It is something that really grounds me in the work that I do. And in fact, tomorrow morning we'll be going down to Buckeye Woodhill off of Woodland and plant 40 more trees. And so that is my call to action for you on Arbor Day, is that these guys have plenty of opportunities for you to plug in. You don't have to know anything. They have the group that can get you trained up. You want to go through the tree standard training, which my girlfriend just went through. I'm sorry, she hates attention. She's going to be very upset at me for calling her out. But it's something very practical you can do. So on Arbor Day, go to the Western Reserve Land Conservancy's website, go to their event tab, sign up for their newsletter at the very minimum. Learn what's going on. But there's going to be those opportunities where you can plug in and just plant trees, and it's light hands, or it's many hands making light work. You're not going to be overwhelmed, but you are going to feel really inspired when you do that work. So that's my charge to you on Arbor Day, and thank you again, Matt, for the opportunity.
Wow, I think we all want to go plant trees right now. Phil, that was amazing and inspiring, and it had me thinking, Rich, we're going to have to create a new tree slide deck around trees, because Rich would always show this bleak photo of Carnegie Avenue, and Phil was the one behind the scenes pushing to get a lot of it depaved. If you drive down Carnegie now, it was a pedestrian hostile street, and it's become even better. So, Phil, we see your impact all over. We are actually helping Councilwoman Jasmine Santana along Store Avenue. That was another project that Phil advocated. That was his last contribution, I think, to the city before he left, to make sure that depavement happened there. So, you heard me falsely already screw up the agenda, and so now give a warm welcome to Sarah Tiller, the director of the Cleveland Tree Coalition.
I'm back. Hi, everyone. Sarah, director of the Cleveland Tree Coalition, and I believe I'm the last thing standing between you and enjoying this space. Like, I can smell the potato rolls and hear the kids, so I'm going to keep my remarks really brief. The Cleveland Tree Coalition is just about as old as the Reforest Our City program. It's a collaborative effort that is meant to bring together the more than 50 partners working on reforestation in the city of Cleveland and really try to drive collective impact, because as you've heard, our urban forest is so vast, and it is not the responsibility of any one organization. It takes everyone to really tackle this problem. So there's a lot of things the coalition does. I'm going to highlight a few. First, we are part of a larger sort of re-grant effort. With funding from NOPEC, the city and the county, we find projects like these and bring money in to make them possible. So this is one of many great projects happening across the coalition. We also focus a lot on data collection and evaluation. As you can imagine, with 50 partners and 50 systems, it's really hard to keep track of what we're doing, how well we're doing it, and most importantly, is anyone better off because of it? So the coalition really brings together the partners to try and understand what's working, what's not, and how do we make long-term impactful systems and policy changes that make it easier to plant trees, but also make it easier for our trees to survive. And then finally, we do a lot of yapping. Come to any coalition meeting and there is a ton of communication happening, and I cannot overstate the importance of the human connection that happens when you're in person and you're throwing ideas around and you're talking about upcoming projects and you're sort of finding the threads of these new ideas and knitting them together to make things possible. So I believe it's been said, Western Reserve Land Conservancy and Reforest Our City has planted upwards of 18,000 trees in the past decade. I'll note that the Cleveland Tree Coalition partners across the board we're pretty confident in saying we've collectively planted 50,000 trees in the past 10 years. And I just want to know, you do the math, how many trees ROC has been contributing to that greater number, and I can't really overstate, again, their value to the coalition and their commitment over 10 years of work. So thank you for having us. Thank you for being an excellent coalition member, and cheers to the future and to future planting. Thank you.
Sarah, thank you for all you do, and I do want to acknowledge the incredible work that you're leading. You know, we were able to assist the Cleveland Tree Coalition, and when former Senator Sherrod Brown was in office, along with Congressman Shontel Brown's support, we were able to bring a $1.5 million federal earmark to be re-granted. 100%, every penny of those dollars went out on the street. And then NOPEC has been such a strong partner. Really grateful to the city administration and to Council President Griffin and City Council that they see value in allowing the NOPEC grant to be re-granted out. 100% of that NOPEC grant gets re-granted. There's no money that's used administratively. It just comes in, but again, those are the opportunities that allow community development corporations and other plant trees. So now I want to invite my colleague Tom Schreiber, who's just going to tell you about the ceremonial tree planting. He's going to explain what's going to happen next, and then I'll have some concluding remarks. Tom, join us.
Happy Arbor Day, everybody. I get to tell you about what I think is the best part. We're going to plant some trees. My team is heading out to 3 trees behind you. There's an American Yellowwood, an American Hornbeam, and a Hop Hornbeam that we're going to add to Cleveland's canopy today. So at the conclusion here of the remarks, we invite you to come over there, join the team, see their excellence in action, and get a picture with a newly planted tree on Arbor Day. What's better than that, right? So thanks everybody so much for being here. Planting trees is hard and loving work that we simply couldn't do without the support of the people who are here today. Thank you.
So for those who don't want to get your hands dirty, and I encourage you, you don't have to. We have plenty of people to plant the trees, but go over and observe the 3 locations and hear kind of the demonstration, what they're doing. For those who want to get lunch, we have hot lunch prepared for you. But lastly, I do want to acknowledge, we said so many amazing things about this park. Drew Sargent, give a wave your hand. Drew was our landscape architect who we hired along with city architecture. This is Drew led the effort capturing what the community wanted. So Drew, thank you for bringing the community's vision alive. You do remarkable work, and we're lucky to partner with you. So we're going to play some music. Go check out the tree demonstration. For those who are hungry and want something to drink, go to the food line now. And thank you all for being here and celebrating 10 years of Reforest in the city of Cleveland. Thank you.